In this video, we will show you how to connect FieldNation and ConnectWise. Doing so allows you to create FieldNation work orders directly from ConnectWise or create ConnectWise tickets directly from FieldNation. This integration will also allow you to update ConnectWise in real time as the work order is being executed by the providers on site. To get started, on the right-hand corner of the screen, click on your icon and then select Company Settings. From here, on the left-hand side of the screen, scroll down. If you're a FieldNation administrator, you can click on the Apps selection. This page has the prepackaged FieldNation integrations. First, click on Connect in the ConnectWise section, and then enter in your information. So the ConnectWise company is going to be the company that you use when you log into ConnectWise. The public key and private key, that information is available via your developer portal in ConnectWise. If you have or need any information on how to get the ConnectWise public key or private key, please visit developer.fieldnation.com for the instructions. The domain name is going to be which domain you log into in the platform. So to get to ConnectWise, copy that URL and paste that there. And make sure you have the final /. The ConnectWise template ID is going to be the template you've set up for your specific board. You're going to enter in the ticket used from the template you created, and then you're going to choose whether you want this to be bidirectional or not. By selecting No, this means that ConnectWise will be used to create the FieldNation work orders. And if you select Yes, this also allows FieldNation to create ConnectWise tickets when a FieldNation work order is created. For this demonstration, we will select No. Next, click on Login to ConnectWise. From here, you'll need to import or set up the field mapping from ConnectWise to FieldNation. You will then set up the field mapping from FieldNation to ConnectWise, and then last but not least, you will toggle on the integration. At any point in time, if you feel like the integration isn't working as expected, or if you need to shut it down, make some changes, and turn it back on, you can toggle the integration on and off as needed. First, click on Setup Import. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have the FieldNation system fields. In the middle, we have the direction which way the mapping is going, and then on the left-hand side, we will have the ConnectWise fields. To get started, click on Add or Remove Fields. And then you can select one or more fields. If you knew you wanted the address information, you could select address. If you knew you wanted city, you could search and select city. And as you can see, as I select these get added on the right-hand side. I can then click on Save Changes. The other option you would have is to just select all ConnectWise fields. This will pull in any ConnectWise field that is on your template ticket in ConnectWise. And then click Save Changes. Now from here, we'll go row by row, mapping the ConnectWise field to the FieldNation field. So for our city, we know that we have a city field in ConnectWise, and then for our country, we have our country name. And then for pay base amount, this is a custom field set up in ConnectWise. Same with pay type. Our scope of work, in this case, we're going to use our initial description from ConnectWise, so the description within that ticket. Our state, we'll use the state identifier. Our street, which is going to be that address. Our title, we're going to pull that from our summary of the ticket. Our type of work, this is another custom field set up in ConnectWise. Our work order manager, who's going to be managing the ticket. This could come from your FieldNation template, or if you wanted to pass over a specific manager, you could do so as well. This has to be the first and last name exactly as it appears in the FieldNation system. And then the zip code. At this point in time, since I've set up all of the required custom fields, I now have the option to save. I would highly suggest saving at this point in time. If you scroll down further, you'll see all of the FieldNation custom work order fields. So if you wanted to pass over part information or certain status information or certain rate information, just select those ConnectWise custom fields and you can send those over. Additional optional fields are down below. These are going to be a combination of additional custom fields you have in the system, as well as any other information such as the start times and end times of the work order, since those aren't necessarily required to create a FieldNation work order. Or if you wanted to map to a particular project or a particular template, you could also do that as well. So you could pass over a template name or a template ID, and that would then use the template to draft your work order. Any work order attachments, you can pass those as well. So any attachments on that ConnectWise ticket number can automatically pass over to the work order documents in FieldNation. At this point in time, we've mapped all the fields that we will for this demonstration. We'll scroll back up to the top, just make sure everything's saved, everything's good to go. Next, we'll set up our mapping from FieldNation to ConnectWise. First, click on Export Data to ConnectWise, and then click on Setup Export. Next, click on Add or Remove Fields. And just as we did before, we'll select all of the fields. You could also select any additional FieldNation custom fields as well if you wanted to do that. So if you wanted to track the internal status that a provider sets when they complete the work order, you could select that information as well. Save that, and then just like we did before, we'll select the field from ConnectWise that we want FieldNation to send the data to. So the address information from FieldNation could come into the address one. Now in this case, some of these don't necessarily make sense. Obviously, if you're passing us the address, you're likely not going to send it back to ConnectWise. So what we can do is we can pass over other information. So when was the work order created and who was it created by? So we can say FieldNation work order is created by, and then pass over that user information. We could also have a specific date, time in which that work order was created. If we keep scrolling down, we could pass over other information such as who the work order manager is. And then last but not least, what I'm going to always suggest doing is mapping the FieldNation work order ID to a ConnectWise. In this case, we have an FN ID that we'll map to. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to scroll down. So you'll have additional custom fields, and one thing to always notice is that at the top of each of these sections has the status and when these fields will be sent over. So when your provider marks the work order as done, these three pieces of information will be sent back to ConnectWise. So if we wanted to close out notes, we could then set that to, let's just do the initial description or an initial resolution. You could then map this information over. So total hours worked, when was it completed, all that information can be sent over. When the provider checks in, you can get the check-in date and time. When the provider checks out, you get the checkout date and time. When the provider's assigned, you can get information such as the provider's ID, their first name, last name, their mobile number, their postal code, any pay information. So as that work order is assigned, you can get pay information about what the pay type is, because that may change from when you created it to when it was assigned. Once it's approved, you can get total expenses, total payment, when it was approved, who it was approved by, cancellation, when it was paid, and then so on and so forth. In this case, any files uploaded by the provider, we'll add that as a document. And then when the provider confirms the ETA, we're going to set that as a note in ConnectWise. And then any messages we'll just post to ConnectWise as a note as well. At this point in time, we'll just save. If you wanted to check out the settings, you could. Clicking on settings is just going to show you the same information we used when we first set up the integration. Company name, public key, template ID, ConnectWise domain, and then enable bidirectional yes or no. At this point in time, you can then toggle the integration on. And what FieldNation will do is we will then authenticate ourselves with ConnectWise. We will look at the template ticket that you gave us. And we will read all the fields and make sure that everything's good to go. Clicking on the X brings you out of that screen. And then if we go back to work and then Flightboard, well, this will take us back to the FieldNation work order Flightboard page. If you want to disconnect the integration, maybe you made a mistake with the ConnectWise public key or private key, you can always click on disconnect, which will then basically remove the settings and then allow you to re-add them and reconnect. Okay. At this point in time, we'll log into the ConnectWise system and we'll create a test ticket. So I'll click on new and then I'll click on a service ticket. And then inside of the ConnectWise service ticket, we'll fill out information about the work order. So we'll first select a client this is for. It's going to populate the address information for us, the board that's selected, and the status as well. Obviously, this is going to depend on what you have set up for that client. We'll give this a name. We'll just call this test ticket number 3, and we'll just put 529 so we know what day this was for, and put this is the scope of work. And for a lot of this stuff, you could do the type of work being kiosk. Most of this stuff can come from the Field Nation template if you're using one of those, or else you're able to set start dates and end dates, start times and end times, statuses, things like that. So assuming we filled out everything we need to for the ticket, we will then save this ticket, which is going to generate us a ServiceNow ticket number of 585. Okay. Now that this ticket's been saved, the last thing we need to do is update this status. Changing the status from new not responded to send to Field Nation is going to be that trigger that is used to create the work order in Field Nation. So I'm going to click send to Field Nation, and then I'm going to save this work order again. And at this point in time, the Field Nation work order should be created in the system. Now if we go back to draft, you can see test ticket number 3, 529 is selected. If I open up this work order, as you can see, the integration link between Field Nation and ConnectWise is set up, and this allows you to basically click on this and it will open up that ConnectWise ticket number directly from Field Nation, allowing you to quickly open up either system using our single sign-on authentication. As you can see, ticket 585. Boom. So the work order is created. So now what we can do is we can publish this out to the marketplace. Once we get it out to the marketplace, we'll assign it to a technician and we'll get some updates from the ticket. Has been routed to my provider account, which I will be accepting in a second. In the meantime, if we go back to the service ticket that we had before, if you look at the Field Nation, let's refresh, Field Nation ID field, you can see that it's populated with that Field Nation work order. So as that ticket's created, the first thing we mapped was the ability to pass back that work order number into ConnectWise so you can store it for later. So in Field Nation, we'll have that provider accept the route. So they're going to provide their duration and their ETA. And now it's assigned, as you can see, in the status is set to confirmed. The provider then has to go through and complete the work order. So the first thing they'll do is they'll mark on their way. And as they do this, we'll scroll down to the section down here so you can see this information update. So they marked on their way. This lets the buyer know that the technician is on their way and how many miles and how many minutes away they are. Next, that technician is going to check in. And as you can see, they checked in. Now, this information I didn't map, but if you wanted to pass back the timestamp for when Kyle checked in and the timestamp for when they set their ETA, you're allowed to do so. We did map the set ETA to a notes field, so let's check out the notes field. And as you can see, after searching for notes, seeing the notes section, I'm able to select on internal, and now we have the provider's ETA that has been sent. It looks like it's sending duplicate events right now. That's likely because we're in a demo environment. Next, the provider is going to check out. So back on the work order is checked out, completed by the provider at a certain time. They will then enter their closeout notes. And they'll say the work order was completed successfully. And submit their closeout notes. Work completed successfully. Now if I go back and I refresh this ticket again, we should see another internal note with the closeout information. Now the provider is going to upload any photos that he or she needed to attach to the work order. So they'll attach a file. Let's just take a picture of the computer. And they will upload the photo. And as the provider's doing that, they're going to also send a message to the buyer thanking them for the job. So they'll click on message and then they will say great and say thank you for the opportunity. And as you can see, if I go to the messages tab, refresh, there is the thank you for the opportunity. Now if we go back to the service ticket, we should have an attachment and we should have a note for the message as well. So if you look at the internal section, you'll see thank you for the opportunity message was posted. Once again, it's posted multiple times. It looks like it may be a bug in our demo environment. Then if I scroll down, I also have the attachment that the provider uploaded into the platform, which I'm able to save. I can display in the customer portal, or I can only allow the owner to update. By default, we make this an internal attachment. We obviously do not want to make this visible to your customers. That should be up to you. Using the FieldNation integration, you were able to create a ticket from ConnectWise into FieldNation, assign that ticket to a FieldNation provider, and then get information about the provider's progress, such as their closeout notes, their attachments into the system, so on and so forth. If you have any questions about the FieldNation ConnectWise integration, what fields are available and how it works, you can always go to developer.fieldnation.com. And then on this screen, on the left-hand side, click on ConnectWise. And then we have a whole section here that goes through setting up and granting access to ConnectWise with screenshots, how to get your public and private key, mapping the fields, saving your fields, and then troubleshooting. We also show you what available fields there are, so what is required to create a work order, what is optional to create a work order, and then what fields are available to update in ConnectWise.